Thank you, and good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. It's always a huge pleasure to be in Istanbul, which is truly one of the world's great cities, and it's an enormous honor to be here, and an enormous honor to be with CFA Society Istanbul, which is one of our most vibrant societies in the world today, positioned in one of the most vibrant and pivotal countries in the world. So CFA Society Istanbul has always enjoyed and will continue to enjoy the fullest support from CFA Institute in this most interesting of all regions. And I'm delighted to be here at this sustainability conference. This is without doubt the most important topic for the generation to come. And I'm delighted that this conference correctly positions sustainability within the broadest possible context. How does the capital market, how do our financial markets help power growth sustainably going forward? How can we play a more inclusive and powerful role than we've been able to do so far? And it's not as if our world lacks really difficult questions, difficult challenges to resolve at present. And I think when most people think about sustainability, they think about it, particularly in today's conversation, in very narrow terms. They think about the environment primarily, and I think that's obviously, it's an important consideration for all financial professionals. How does finance break the bounds of a resource-constrained planet to create sustainable growth that is genuinely going to be sustainable for generations to come in what is today a resource-constrained world? But it's much more than that. How do we spread growth to emerging markets? And I feel that problem more and more, and I think it's particularly relevant in this corner of the world. If we are unable, through financial development, to help developing markets develop, then we are going to suffer the types of population challenges, the demographic migration challenges that we have felt so strongly over the last 15 or 20 years. If we can't give people a reason to remain in place, then we have to expect the waves of migration to continue into the future. And what does that mean for the societies that we live in today? Pension investment, another very important sustainability topic that's on our agenda today. Children today are going to live, children that are born today are going to live to well over 100 years of age. We also live, and for the foreseeable future, we're going to live in a very low interest rate, low return environment that is arguably here for decades to come as our populations age. What does pension fund investing mean within that context? What do forced savings mean within that context, given that they represent well over 25% of the assets that our industry manages today? These are really very important questions for us to tackle. And how do we also help our capital markets development combat the increasing inequalities that we see in the world today, where a percentage of our wealth in national terms is held in fewer and fewer hands? This is beginning to challenge the very fabric of liberal democracy. How are we going to create sustainable growth within a system that appears to be putting an increasing share of the world's wealth in the hands of fewer and fewer people? We don't have all of the answers to these questions, but we have to step up and provide some of the solutions and some of the pathways to solving them. And then finally, as Albert talked about Women's Day here and the Central European Women's Conference that's coming next year to Turkey, how do we think about sustainability within the very narrow confines of our industry? If we can't do a better job of creating diversity within our industry, not just in terms of gender, but in terms of thought process, cognitive diversity, ethnicity, etc., then how can we expect to have a sustainable industry going forward? So these are all, for me, existential questions that cut at the very heart of the sustainability of our industry going forward. Most of you in this room have at least 20 more years to run in your careers, and I would urge you to think about these questions within that context. If finance cannot play a role in resolving these questions, if we cannot find a better sense of purpose, then our careers will not be sustainable going forward. So I would urge you to set this conversation today within that framework as well. It's an existential topic for all of us that are passionately involved in this community going forward. So I'm really excited to be here today. I'm very, very much looking forward to participating in the conversations. We have a wonderful agenda. I hope you all enjoy it. Please do come up and say hello and have a great day. Thank you very much.